So Hamburg have won, Leverkusen have won. Leaves it up to these two sides as Van Bommel and Jurgen Klopp shake hands. This really is one of the big rivalries in German football. I'm saying Dortmund started well. They rocked by 2 defeats, conceded 7 goals in the process, you know, against Frankfurt and Stuttgart. That's what our reporter Hans Finger was asking the Dortmund hierarchy about. But, you know, they're still dreaming of a Champions League place. Today's match at Bayern is a real test of their credentials in front of 69,000 fans in a very, very cold Munich. So stay tuned for a clash between 2 of the biggest names in German football. I was talking about this stomach bug that hit the Bayern Munich training camp. It was Olić, Schweinsteiger, Van Berten, Danijel Pranjić, Butt, Klose, all had this bug and they were training separately. We're just getting the team news through now, although we can confirm that Ribéry will play. Obviously, this man is going to play. Arjen Robben has been in really wonderful form in 2010, as have Bayern Munich. They're just scoring goals for fun. They won 3-1 at Wolfsburg last week, 3-0 against Mainz, 3-2 against Bremen the week before, 2-0 against Hoffenheim, that's in 2010. And they finished off last year 5-1 against Bochum, 5-2 against Hertha Berlin. So clearly they're scoring goals very easily at the moment. And Andreas Görlitz, who've just heard from him already, is our match analyst today. Dortmund are losing quite a lot of goals. I suppose the first job of Dortmund is to defend much better. And the old question, how do you stop such a powerful attack? One with Ribéry. Just talk us through about who's going to play up front, though. It looks like Ribéry, Müller, Robben and Gomez as kind of a front 4.
Yeah, so it seems to be Müller and Gomez in the middle of the pitch. Ribéry coming from the left wing and Robben from the right wing. Robben, we just noticed today in red ties. You remember the story?
That's right.
The German Federation, they forbid his white ties he used to wear on the pitch, Dutch attacker. And yeah, the referee, obviously, Knut Kircher, experienced man here in the middle. And yeah, I'm looking for an FC Bayern really attacking from the beginning, you know, showing here in the Allianz Arena. We are back here after 2 difficult seasons. We really go for the title this year with Franck Ribéry.
Yeah, this really is a big test, and it's a signal of just how good Dortmund are, because at the beginning of the season there were some real doubts. They started off badly, and one has to say the first match between these 2 teams, I had the pleasure of commentating that, and I have to say in the second half Dortmund were absolutely torn apart by Bayern Munich. It was 5-1. Müller scored a couple, I think it was the day before his 20th birthday. It's 5-1. It honestly could have been 7 or 8, and that was a bit of a sign of things to come, because in the last couple of months Bayern Munich and this man Robben have been scoring goals for fun. So Dortmund do have to defend. There was a very good period, wasn't there, from mid-November and December, and it's gone down a bit, and a certain Lucas Barrios is the revelation for them. He's been scoring plenty of goals. So we're underway at the Allianz Arena between Bayern and Dortmund. Just for those of you who like your statistics, the head-to-heads, there's been the last Dortmund win here. Well, you're going to tell us about that in a second, Andreas. But as I said, it was a 5-1 win at Dortmund, which really was a wonderful performance from them. The last win in was way back in when, Andreas? You're going to fill us in?
Last win here was in 91-92, so quite a couple of years ago. 3-0 for Dortmund here in Munich, not in this stadium, obviously. This was still back in the Olympic Stadium in the center of Munich. But well, a lot of people and myself doubt that it will be like this today, you know. And the highest win Bayern Munich ever got at home was 11-1 in the 71-72 season, and guess who the opponent was at that time? So it was Dortmund, obviously.
The history is pretty good for the men in red, and the overall, well, 37 wins for Bayern, 26 draws and 18 wins. And last year, well, it was a 3-1 win for Bayern with Valdez, Roberto, Klose, twice in fact the scorers. Dortmund took the lead last year very early on, but they ended up with nothing. So here we are, Dortmund, of course, in their yellow from left to right. Look out for Barrios, who's scoring plenty of goals after a very difficult start. Some people were doubting him, I have to say, myself included. I was a bit worried early on, but he scored 11 goals. No one else has scored more than 5. That's a certain Mats Hummels, the defender. Apart from that, the top scorer is 3. So they are very dependent on Barrios. That could be a problem. So Bayern Munich then. There's no Olić. We can only guess that he has that stomach bug. And they're maybe turning the team a bit before that Champions League clash. Badstuber, an ever-present, a surprising ever-present Badstuber. No one thought T would be playing every game. He started off in the centre of defence.
Yeah, especially he's normally he's a centre back, and they brought him in now as a fullback, as they experiencing problems for a couple of seasons now, Bayern on the fullbacks, especially the left back position. They brought in Bravheit, the Dutch guy, but he never plays. He's on loan now to Celtic, off and away. So, and Badstuber, who's, you said it, started off in the middle, just went to the left side. So Lahm is on the right side. Well,
Van Gaal said he couldn't drop him. He played initially because Demichelis was injured at the start of the season. Demichelis came back, and Demichelis was making plenty of angry noises about not getting straight back in the side, but he did get in the side. And then we were wondering who would be left back. Would it be Pranjić or another player? Nope, it turns out to be Badstuber. So that's a good sign, a young player coming through. It's not just about big stars. Bayern Munich, they have given a chance to him. And a certain Thomas Müller, who's been a real revelation. 6 goals, 17 starts. And when you're up against the likes of Olić and the other forwards, Robben, Ribéry, it's a testament to him that he's played so many games. So Dortmund are going to try and attack early on with Kuba. It's a good chance. It's Zidane, and here's a real early chance. And it's just gone wide. Oh, my word, that was a good chance from Bender. And nice piece of defensive work from Demichelis.
I think Butt was beaten there. Have a look. I think Demichelis just puts the ball off the line, more or less.
Well, you talked about the problem with the left-back position. There was certainly a problem there. He got way too much room there, didn't he? Bender with that shot as early as the 4th minute. That was, a half chance, more than a half chance. Good start from the visitors. Well, let's put it in. It's Bender again, and it's kicked off the line from Van Bommel. These are worrying times, and Franck Ribéry, his first start of 2010. What can he do? And that was good defensive work by Grosskreutz. Good start from Dortmund. Bayern were early in the season, Andreas. They were fragile in defence. I remember a game at Mainz when they defended very poorly.
Yeah, Van Gaal had said this in the beginning: new system, new coach. And especially after the last season where they changed coach in the end, just a couple of matches from the finish line, so to speak, when Klinsmann was sacked, and they brought in Jupp Heynckes actually to secure second place. They didn't go for the title anymore. Yeah. And Van Gaal said, we have to change a couple of things. I have to know the players, so the start will be a little bit tricky. 2 months, give me 2 months. And it was true in the beginning.
Oh, there's a chance, there's a mistake in Zidane. Zidane is through, but Van Burton, and it's in! Oh, he got the ball back off Van Burton. Oh, Mohamed Zidan with a wonderful goal. He won the ball, he lost it against Van Burton, but he showed wonderful determination. He got the ball back, and just as I was expecting a clearance, Mohamed Zidan with a superb finish. Well, they started well, Andreas, and they got their reward already.
Yeah, true. I mean, this is the third occasion for Dortmund since the beginning of the match. After just 6 minutes, just the chance before this was a bad defending of the goalkeeper. Well, here is not to blame. It's more Van Buiten who should have taken this ball away.
Well, twice he had it. I mean, we'll look at it again. First, here, Van Burton should have had it here.
Yeah, that
he
was
lost
bad
it.
defending.
And then he won it again here, and he lost it a second time. But that was good awareness, wasn't it, from Zidane?
Great anticipation then to get into the ball, slide into the ball.
Well, what a wonderful start to this match, and a really, really good goal from Zidane. I thought he lost that ball. He showed fantastic determination. That's his third goal of the season. The Egyptian international. Back
just from the African Cup.
African Nations Cup, where, well, you never guess who won that. Egypt, of course. So a real battle have on their hands. Bayern, what a fantastic start. Good stuff from Ribéry. He was too clever for Grosskreutz. Here's Robben, poor first touch. And Schmelzer just does enough. Well, it's a breathless start to the match. Well, I wasn't expecting this at all. I thought it might be cagey, a slow start. But Dortmund, all credit to Jurgen Klopp. No fear at all. They had a couple of chances early on. And my word, Zidane, there's been a lot of talk, linking him to big clubs outside of Germany.
He's a fellow who's always going with the coach, with Klopp. He was with Klopp in Mayence, then he went to Hamburg, and now he's come back. When Klopp went to Dortmund, he brought him back in. Yeah. They know each other well.
What a really good finish that was, because he seemed to lose the ball once, and he did actually lose the ball, didn't he? But he just What he had was speed. He had some pace that Van Buiten didn't really have.
Van Buiten looked a little bit, not knowing what to do actually in this situation. Not just kicking the ball away twice. That was bad defending.
It was a very strange goal. Now, I was going to ask you about Thomas Müller, because I've seen a lot of Müller. He's had a good season, but not as a centre-forward. He's been playing on the left so far, and I'm pretty sure this is the first time he's played as a centre-forward, so let's see what he can do. Owomayela was all over that. Oh, nice touch from Zidan. He's had a good start back to Owomayela. What a good start from Dortmund.
Good counter-attack here.
This is a wonderful counter-attack. It's 4 against 1, and Bayern, their fans are singing and jumping behind the goal, but they've got a lot to worry about as Van Bommel clears, the captain, the first foreign captain of this fine club, the Dutchman Bastian Schweinsteiger. He's always a regular starter, played every match this season. I imagine he's probably the first name on Louis van Gaal's list. What a surprising start as well, because all the stats and the pundits said, well, this should be Bayern's to win, but they've got work to do. Ribéry beats 1, beats 2. He's going to try and get down that line again. Still with Ribéry. It's a good cross, and it's hacked over the bar by Schmelzer again. They're playing with good pace, aren't they, by Munich? They're attacking, as you predicted.
Yeah, well, they have to now. I mean, this is a horrible start for a team who is at home here and who is on a 4-win strike after the winter break. It's really amazing they let themselves move around like this in the beginning of this match and then concede a goal. So definitely they have to come back now. They have to push forward. And he already scored 6, Van Buiten.
Yeah, he's had a very good season. It's a bit like Hummels, isn't he? He scores a lot of goals, centre-back. What can they do from this? Nothing. I think Dortmund will clear this. They've lost their last 2 games, remember, Dortmund. Bayern have won 8 in a row in the Bundesliga. Oh, nice work again from Ribéry. That's a little bit too far, in fact, much too far. And Bayern played during the week against Greuther Fürth, so it's a bit of a derby, a Bavarian derby, you could say. And it was a strange game, wasn't it, Andreas? Because they were 2-1 down.
Yeah, they were 2-1 down. They won 1-0 quite early in the game. This was the quarterfinal of the Cup, you have to say.
Yes, I should have made that clear.
And then at half-time they were 2-1 down, and well, after the break they made the difference. Thomas Müller scored again 2 goals, the young striker, 20 years old only. You just mentioned him. But then again, they experienced some problems, and you don't know really why, because they have the quality, they have the squad. They have a good mixture these days, I think, between really experienced old foes, so to speak, and young, determined, very talented players.
This Gomez, just to interrupt you, I thought Gomez was going to get through, and there's going to be a corner. It was a good tackle. It had to be a good tackle. Gomez, again, he had a tricky start after his move from Stuttgart, but he's very much settled in. So it ended up being a 6-2 win, quite easy, but a 2-1. Bayern apparently didn't play well at all in the first half and didn't deserve to be ahead after the first 45 minutes. Müller with that header, but that's a foul. And after that game, I read that Louis van Gaal was not at all happy with his side. He said they were arrogant. He said they didn't put enough effort into the game. And I saw club president Karl-Heinz Rummenigge actually praising his coach, saying that was absolutely right and terrific. After winning so many games in a row, you tend to get sloppy. Could that be a danger when you've won so many games?
Yeah,
I think it's easy now.
I mean, the first goal just shows this, because the goal they conceded, or the goals they conceded against Greuther Fürth team from the second division, you have to know that, was exactly the same. They were in the middle. Van Buiten, Demichelis let the ball go. Nobody really focused on the ball, on the opponent. Just gave space, and they conceded the goals. And even against an opponent, which you would say, well, second division, lower division, a weaker opponent, you get beaten in the end, and you get punished. So I think that's what happened here. They just didn't pay attention, and it was the third chance, couple of chances.
Yeah, very early on. So that win against second division Greuther Fürth, not even one of the top teams in the second division, so that would have been a bit embarrassing. They got through that. They have a lot of work to do. Ribéry has been in determined form early on, but his side is still losing 1-0. Jurgen Klopp will be delighted with the performance of his players so far. He doesn't really have any injury worries or illness worries, as his opponents do.
Well, there are long-term injuries. The captain of the team, obviously, Sebastian Kehl, who more or less pretends for place in the national squad as well, if he's fit. A lot of injury problems for him in the last couple of seasons.
Yes, Kuba, Sven Bender was a bit of a worry, but he's going to play, so that's a good win from Kuba. He's a determined player on the side that time.
Yeah, he's not very tall, but he's really very dynamic and really powerful player, this number 16 player here.
Yes.
So, now Müller. Can't make it for Gomez.
Just quite enough, but certainly they didn't come here with any fear, Dortmund. And I think that was a bit of psychology from Jurgen Klopp. He was saying, we are playing against the best German team, but we're not going here just to look at the stadium. He said, we're going to give it 100%. We can try and ruin their fun. We're an awkward opponent, so it's confident. And why not? Because they've done well. And here's Barrios. Barrios has made most of a mistake from Demichelis, and that time he made amends. But again, it was what you were talking about. Indecision from this time. It was from Demichelis. And the more attacks with Şahin, who's a really, really wonderful player. Şahin, he's their creative player in midfield, played every match so far. A wonderful player to watch is Şahin. I'm looking forward to seeing him again. Is Zidan, the goal scorer. Oh, and there's Şahin, back to Zidan. There's a chance again, and it's a bit desperate defending here. There's again, space for the men in yellow. Cleared out. This is a worrying start.
Yeah, Bayern definitely getting nervous now.
Yeah, Schweinsteiger, he's the kind of player that needs to calm things down. And that's a good ball. Ribéry with plenty of space on the left-hand side. Aubameyang is going to have a tough afternoon. Robben has come to the left-hand side. I think they might do that this afternoon. Robben and Ribéry will switch flanks because they can both buy on either side, can't they?
Yeah, that's also a good opportunity to make the opponent unsure. Now in this situation they were playing both of them on the same side, trying to get down on the wing and then bring the ball in for Gomez, who's tall, or Müller, who's always 1 meter, also 1.86 meters tall. So they have a lot of options. They can keep the ball on the ground. They can bring in the centres like this now from Robben.
Yep, here's Robben. He decides to go square. Lahm. This is a patient move. This one is just to play the square, go all the way back to Badstuber. Oh, that was a nice play from Robben. Yeah, that was good tactic. It gave them more room. Ribéry. 3 defenders around him. Kuba gets the foot in. Should be said that Aubameyang, who is one of the best Dortmund defenders, he made a bad mistake last week against Eintracht Frankfurt. He let the ball go under his foot for Meyer to score for Frankfurt in a 3-2 defeat, which was a big disappointment for Dortmund because they were hoping to win that game and be up there with their great rivals Schalke. It was a big disappointment to lose against Frankfurt, although we've said earlier Frankfurt are a real surprise this year. They're doing extremely well after many years of struggling, but the Dortmund defence has been worrying. There was that 4-1 defeat also against Stuttgart, so they've been letting in a few goals of late. This was the goal. Van Burten made a mistake there.
Yeah, he should have kicked the ball away there.
Yeah, he could have just put it anywhere, but here I thought he had it as well.
Yeah, but he's a tall guy, you see, and if he has to start running to the ball, he needs more time. And Zidan is just quicker, and he anticipates very well. And Jurgen Klopp, as we know him, most appearances in the second division for Mainz, Jurgen Klopp as a player.
Oh,
he's
really?
still an idol there.
Yeah,
he really is, and he's a very good. He's a very good analyst as well. He's working on television as well.
Yeah.
He will be for the World Cup. He's been a long time with the second German
Mainz have had a fantastic season, especially at home, almost unbeatable at home, and they got a decent result against Hertha Berlin, a 1-1 draw this afternoon. So yeah, Jurgen Klopp, and that's a nice ball. Mario Gomez, he's a little bit wide. Can he find anyone in the middle? And that was Müller. You see, I don't think they've played too much together, Gomez and Müller, as a real duo. So that's going to take a little bit of time, I think, to develop. And I'm a bit surprised. I would guess Olić is not well, because this could be the kind of game for him. But we shall see over the course of 90 minutes. Ribéry punched clear.
Ziegler in the goal, not Weidenfeller, who is the #1 goalkeeper.
Yeah, Weidenfeller was another one player who didn't recover from injury, but this is Ziegler's 4th match of the season, so he's got a bit of experience this term. It's Robben again. This one is lofted much higher towards Muller, but that's going to be a tricky one for him to win. Kuba gets in the way. Owameyela. Everyone's going to try and get ahead on that. Well, that's a nice header from Van Bommel to his fellow Dutchman. Muller. Excuse me, that's Schweinsteiger.
He's quite happy with his role now, because he was used to play on the wings with Bayern and the national squad, and now in the national squad sometimes he showed he can play in the center of the game. He really wants to be a number 10.
Yeah,
Schweinsteiger, and now he's going in this position as well with the Bayern next to Van Bommel.
Well, they're very, very well equipped on the wings, aren't they? Not just with Ribéry and Robben, but Muller's played there. Olić can play there. So perhaps that's his future over the next few years. But for the moment, they have to defend as Grosskreutz has a shot. And well, my word, it fell to Barrios. Grosskreutz was the man with the original shot. And again, very worrying, but dealt with that, deciding to punch it away. And it fell to Barrios. That's the last player you want the ball to come to. That goes behind. Luckily, Badstuber was there. Good awareness from the left back.
Yeah, but they seem to be nervous. They lose the balls quite quickly here in midfield. And this was the big problem last season, actually. They lost the ball there, and then they were completely open in defence. Bayern conceded a lot of goals in the beginning of the season.
That time, a lovely touch from Robben. Van Bommel. Now, can he play the right pass? Decides to go to Ribéry. The ball in. Hummels can get rid of that. That was subtle without being too effective. Nearly 20 minutes. 1-0 to Dortmund. Well, this run from Bayern Munich, well, it has to end somewhere. You can't win forever. 11 games. All the Bayern players talk about that 4-1 winning Juventus as a kind of turning point, and since then they've just been winning match after match. Can't go on forever. Well, Leverkusen, for one, will be delighted if it stops here. Remember, they're 3 points behind with this game in hand. Schalke still to play on Sunday. They're not quite out of it yet. Robben. Schweinsteiger across to Van Bommel. Gomez makes a chance for himself. Mario Gomez. Oh, good stop. Good stop from Ziegler. Stood up strong. Gomez made something from nothing there. That was a very good piece of play from the 35 million euro man. Barrios. Plenty of space here. Look at this. There's absolutely no defensive midfield players there. Kuba beats Badstuber way too easily. And unfortunately for him, the ball was just poorly placed. But Van Bommel and Schweinsteiger had both gone up there, which did leave the back four somewhat exposed.
Yeah, it's still astonishing. I mean, at this level, a club like Bayern Munich, this is exactly the problem they experienced last season when they conceded a lot of goals like this. You know, when they lose the ball, when they're going up front. I mean, there must be some talk between the players, so that some people stay behind and just close down the space.
Yeah, it's normally Van Bommel's role, but then he went up to try and make a goal. Gomez again, he's creating a bit of space for himself. There is Van Bommel. Robben, he's got Phillip Lahm outside him. He decides not to use him. Finally he does. Phillip Lahm, he does like to get forward. Right back, of course, this year after some years on the left. Here is Muller with the shot, but that's well saved. It actually ended up being more dangerous than I thought, and that man Thomas Muller wins his side a corner. Comes in, and it's gone straight in. Well, that man Van Bommel scoring an equaliser from absolutely nothing. The corner came right out to him. He decided to have a go. Well, I'll ask you, was Ziegler at fault there? Because I thought he maybe should have kept that out.
I'd like to see the slow-mo there, Andreas, but there were a lot of players just in front of him. He didn't have a good sight, and Van Bommel was astonished the ball went in. You can see it from his reaction. And ball bounces just in front of the keeper. It's deflected.
Yeah, it was a wicked deflection. Yeah,
difficult,
that was
difficult one.
That was unlucky. A first goal of the season for the captain, Marc Van Bommel. With a bit of luck, it was a heavy deflection, but they all count. And we were talking about luck earlier this afternoon. While you make your own luck, you have to try and shoot to get those deflections. It's a bit hard on Dortmund because they've started in a very, very impressive way. And now I think a lot of it is about character, Dortmund, and they have to remain very strong. because they were the better side in the opening 20 minutes. It was the first real chance for Bayern. It was barely a chance, and it crept in. So it's 1-1, and this is boiling into a really, really exciting match between Bayern and Dortmund. The goal scorer plays it out to Van Berten, who was at fault for that goal. You have to say he hesitated before Zidan got in, but it's a very determined Dortmund side tonight. They don't want to lose again. They've lost their last 2 matches. They are still up there in 5th place, although Hamburg, who were above them, did win today. Werder Bremen, who were below them coming into this weekend, won as well. So if they want to stay up there, it sounds obvious. If you're going up there, you keep winning your matches, which they haven't been doing recently. It's going to come all the way wide to Badstuber. That's good work from Kuba. And great work from Ribéry, using his 2 feet, and a very spectacular back flick from Van Bommel.
He hasn't been playing a lot, Ribéry, has he, because of his injuries, and he was starting the cup game actually, and after 70 minutes or so, Van Gaal took him off, and he wouldn't like to go off the pitch. He clearly made it sure that he wanted to play, and even when he was going on the bench, he still took his shirt off and made some gesture. And Van Gaal was asked after the game, what about the changing of Ribéry, and said, well, this guy has to build up again. He can't be too angry. He must understand that I'm acting for the good of the team, you know. And Ribéry sometimes gives me the impression, you know, also with these things going to Real Madrid, not going again, he might be playing more for himself sometimes than for the team. Yeah,
it's good work from Aubameyang, but will they keep him? I know they have said that they would be prepared to let him go if the money's right. There's no point in keeping a player of his value that's going to go on a Bosman free transfer. He's the kind of player that just wants to play every minute of every match, and he got a nasty injury in that training camp, didn't he? He had to have a couple of toenails removed after a training ground injury.
But then keep in mind, he never stayed more than 2 years in a club, Ribéry.
Yeah, that's true.
Galatasaray, Marseille, everywhere he goes, he stays 2 years, and then he goes to another club, he goes away.
That's Phillip Lahm. There's one player who doesn't move very often. Phillip Lahm, a long-time Bayern man, of course. Sent crashing to the ground.
Yeah, coming from the youth system, like Badstuber, like Schweinsteiger. Same generation with Schweinsteiger.
Yep. 2 very, very loyal and vital players for Bayern Munich, both of who's had a bit of a positional change recently. Lahm, right side. This year, Robben is playing on the right as well. Now, he scored a goal from almost exactly the same position against Werder Bremen recently. Will he go for the same? Ziegler, a little bit nervous, decides to just punch it after, let's say, a slight error for that goal. It was hard on him because it took a heavy deflection, headed clear from a Subotić. Oh, it's dropped for Mario Gomez, and I think that's going to go wide. Subotić is another player who's much rated around Europe, and he's a player who's worth quite a few million euro. I know Manchester City were interested in him, and he's one of those players that Dortmund would love to hold on to because they have financial problems. They have not spent at all. They didn't spend €1 over the winter break.
Another player who came with Jurgen Klopp, by the way, he came from Mayence, Subotić, with Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, well,
he took over. Because Klopp had said, when we get promoted to the Bundesliga, I stay with Mayence. And then they didn't make it for a couple of points, and so he left for Dortmund.
So Müller down the right-hand side, no one inside, so he sensibly keeps the ball. He does more than keep the ball, he puts in a good cross. Ribéry! Well, it was Ribéry of all men who came in at the near post. Don't often see him in that position. But good work from Müller, because he seemed to lose it. He did lose it, but he won it back. It was about timing. He put the cross in at the right time. Came off Aubameyang.
Yeah, you hardly see him because he's just 1.70 m high.
That's right.
He can't win a lot of headers.
Headed clear again from Aubameyang. Bayern suddenly dominating after that slightly fortunate goal. Schweinsteiger is going to be hacked a long way clear. Ribéry, good tackle. I think that's probably the best thing with Ribéry. You've got to stop him early before he starts running at you. Seems to be the tactic for Aubameyang. I said made that mistake last week, but has been a solid performer at right back for Dortmund this season. He wins the ball again. Hummels, well, we know all about him. Before the game, we were talking about his excellent form. Kuba. Barrios is on his own. I don't know what Kuba was doing there. I miscued it. Talking of transfers, well, Bayern, there were no transfers in the winter for Dortmund. Bayern, they did let quite a few players go on loan. You mentioned Braafheid, Luca Toni. What we knew about him, he was determined to leave. It was clear he wasn't going to play much. And Breno, we saw him on Friday playing for Nuremberg. That's just on loan. Ottel also on loan to Nuremberg, and Alexander Baumjohann, the young player, going to Schalke. So a lot of players out on loan. It's a big squad, so they can afford to do that.
Yeah, it's still bizarre. I mean, you know, like Toni Kroos, we were talking about him earlier in the Leverkusen match. Great, one of the greatest talents in German football. You just give him away. Baumjohann, for me, is a very good, very talented, gifted player. You don't buy these players and then just let them go after 6 months' time. I mean, at least you keep them 1 year, 2 years to see how they develop. It's astonishing. Bayern Munich on the transfer side lately is a little bit bizarre what happened in the last 2 years to me. Because also when you're talking about Olić, pretty good player, but Olić is playing almost the Franck Ribéry position. So yeah, there's always the problem that you have a luxury problem, if you want to speak so. But still there is a problem because Olić, who scores about 20 goals for Hamburg, comes to Bayern and then doesn't play. So
yeah, it almost seems to be the policy from speaking as a non-German, that they seem any of the best player in Bundesliga, they buy them immediately. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction. Any big German player available, they will buy, and then later they see how they fit him in the side, as opposed to thinking about who they need first. But
some people say Bayern just buys the players, and there is no game plan. You know,
there's no strategy.
There's no 4-3-3 or what do we play? Barcelona, they know how they play with 3 strikers. Actually, it's interesting. Van Gaal plays like this with Munich a lot now.
Yeah.
He tries to put on.
That was the initial idea, wasn't it? With Ribéry and Robben and a Gomez or closer in the middle, but that changed and it worked. They were playing 4-4-2 and winning every game, but that was more through being forced to play that decision rather than a strategy, simply because this man Ribéry was injured. It's been a very strange year. They were talking about a 4-3-3 or playing a sort of 4-3-1-2 earlier on in the season. As a Dutchman, wouldn't be a huge surprise for Van Gaal. And that was a lovely piece of work. Well, that's why Robben was brought in, for those little slaloms in and out from Real Madrid.
Yeah, question being, Robben and Ribéry are often injured, both of them.
Yes.
That's a big risk. They're great players, but often not available.
What they say, yeah, you can have one like that, but two is a risk. That's why they have so many players in reserve, the likes of Muller and Olić, and Klose, who's obviously more of a centre forward. Gomez. Well, that was not subtle from Hummels, the ex-Bayern man, just kicks it into the fence. Bayern almost admitting that it was a mistake to let Hummels go.
Yeah, assistant coach Hermann Gerland, who has been the reserve team's coach, who brought Hummels up, he said we should never let him go. Well, this has happened quite a lot of times with players from Munich late seasons.
Ribéry, it's a little bit too far. Well, you could certainly imagine Hummels playing ahead of Demichelis or Van Berten. The one worry for me, Demichelis and Van Berten, they're both very big guys, not so quick as we saw that from the goal. Sometimes it's nice to have one bigger guy and one guy who's a little bit more mobile.
They are the older players of this team. Van Berten is 32. Yeah. Demichelis, we got him here. He's not that tall. He's 184, but he's slow. That's his big problem. Yeah. Not a lot of pace.
Has been the worry slightly this year, especially slow on the turn, and some teams have made the most of that. But well, we've been criticising Bayern a little bit, but if you look at the stats, they've scored 45 goals, which is second only to Leverkusen, and they have only conceded 18. It was in the early part of the season they had their worst start for 40 odd years. You know, they got 2 points.
Yeah, even worse than Klinsmann. Nobody thought after the last season with the start of Klinsmann it could be any worse. And then Van Gaal, I think in November they were 8th, Bayern.
That's right, just 2 draws and then a defeat. But since then, things have turned around, and one of the turning points was the win at Dortmund. It's another free kick. We've had many of these. It's going to be Franck Ribéry take this on the left-hand side. And it's that man Hummels, very easily clears, but it's one back from the men in red who've had a good 5 or 10 minutes. Kuba is a determined character now. That was a clear foul by Ribéry. Nice work from Kuba.
And there you can see in situations like this, he's not 100% fit because he doesn't get around the opponent. Yes. Normally he should just run away with the ball.
Yeah, a fit Ribéry would, you're right, would not have lost that. So Kuba, as we call him, full name Jakub Błaszczykowski. I probably haven't pronounced that right. So apologies to all our Polish viewers. So we just call him Kuba today. He likes to be called that as well. And what a very good player he is. The number 16, who has been almost an ever-present 17 starts this year with a couple of subs. Key man for Dortmund's Schmelzer down the line, but it's one back. Bayern are winning a lot of balls now. It's a better period. Dortmund are struggling to get out of their own half. Can they do it now? Zidan wants it on the left. Barrios is a little bit too wide. Demichelis, this time it's ushered back to Butt. Butt, who saved the penalty last week, and the week before that he missed one because he takes penalties as well. Now, is he? Do you know? Is he going to take penalties now, or is that over? I imagine Van Gaal's probably had enough, hasn't he?
I don't think so. I think they make it out between themselves who just feels confident, Robben or Butt. But Butt was almost reliability when he was in Leverkusen. Remember, he scored all the penalties and he never missed one.
He never missed.
A couple of years ago, he was actually the goalkeeper in the Champions League final for Leverkusen 2002.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was really Leverkusen's high point that year. Although who knows, maybe this year they'll do it. But a goalkeeper taking penalties, I'm personally not sure about that. I always remember that Ruud van Gullit quote: "If goalkeepers could play football, they wouldn't be goalkeepers." It's nothing against.
Yeah, but I think since Ruud Gullit said this, times have probably changed a little bit. You can see there's some really good football players now in the goal.
True. Actually. Yeah, but well, let's be honest, his strike rate is as good as most. But of course, when he misses one, everyone talks about it. People say, "Why is a goalkeeper taking penalties?" That was a push on Barrios, who's had an excellent first season in Europe. Lucas Barrios, the Argentinian. He scored 49 in 53 for Colo Colo, but that was in Chile. No disrespect to the Chilean league, but he's scoring plenty of goals here. Šahin, it's a decent centre, but it was Van Burten this time. That's where he's good, Van Burten, obviously, with those kind of headers where he has a bit of time. Robben goes one way, beats Subotić. Dortmund fans will be hoping they can hang on to Subotić at the end of the year. Here's Müller playing a much more central position. Maybe that shows he's hasn't really got into the game, Müller. Kuba, and there's the goal scorer Zidan. A very good goal it was too. You could catch that again at half-time. We'll show you the goals, as well as the goals from all of the matches in Bundesliga today. If you like your German football, stay tuned. That was a foul from Zidan on Müller, who's coming quite deep, isn't he? He's dropping back.
Yeah, that doesn't get a lot of balls up front, so that's what strikers tend to do. Then they come back to the midfield to grab the balls and run with the ball at the foot. But still, I mean, I'm amazed Dortmund is handling this so equally. I mean, it's an equally balanced game. It's impressive.
That's a good point about Müller, because when I've seen him, he's had a lot of the ball on the wings. He's really got involved in the game, and as a centre forward, you have to be patient. You're going to get less of the ball. There's no avoiding that. And as a youngster, just 20 years old, that's something he has to learn. I don't think his long-term future is as a centre forward, but who knows? He can adapt himself. Here is Ribéry. That was a nice ball to Gomez, who found some space when he didn't really have any right to get in. Mario Gomez! Well, that was a good effort. Went over the bar. He had 2-3 players. That's a real kind of a natural forward, isn't it? Someone who can create a space like that.
Yeah, he looks a little bit awkward all the time when he gets to the ball. You know, he dribbles. He doesn't looks elegant like a Ribéry or like a Van Robben, but he got this skill. He's got amazing first touch.
It's Van Bommel. Not much of a cross there. Yeah, it was some surprise that Bayern paid so much for him, but in terms of his scoring record at Stuttgart, you can't argue with that. And yeah, he's not the sort of silky kind of forward, but he's very effective, as Demichelis puts that one out, back in the Bayern side after a nasty injury at the start of the season. And he'll be hoping to play as much football as possible as any player who's hoping to go to the World Cup. Two Argentines there, Barrios and Demichelis. One far more experienced than the other, of course. I'm sure they're going to have a chat after the game. Here is Barrios. It was a poor ball that time from Şahin. Şahin is the real creative instincts, the real creative force behind this Dortmund side. Nuri Şahin, he's a wonderful player to watch. Only 21 still.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's been internationally experienced. He's played for Turkey. He's a Turkey international. By his young age, he has played under 17 Euros, under 17 World Cups. He's a great player.
Yeah.
He fell out with Dortmund. He was on loan to Feyenoord one year when Bert van Marwijk was sacked from Dortmund. The season afterwards, he went to Feyenoord and he took him.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a gifted, a really good player, Nuri Şahin.
Yeah, that would have been a real mistake to let him go. And he's got a few records. He's the youngest player to ever score for Germany, and the youngest ever Bundesliga player, actually, 16 years, 335 days, and the youngest ever to score. So he really has got a lot of records under his belt. Nuri Şahin, still only 21.
Yeah, and Fatih Terim, it was the Turkish national coach at that time, he picked him. So he couldn't play for Germany because Germany wanted him to play as well.
Because he's German-born. So
he's German. Yeah. He's German-born. Yeah, he was playing for Schalke. There's a big story because as a youth player, he was bought from Dortmund from Schalke.
The big.
And there was a big rivalry, and there didn't go well at all. And then he was in German squads, and but then he decided to play for Turkey.
Yeah, it was his decision. We must make that clear. It was he had the choice to refuse the Turkish selection. Turkish, obviously the country of his parents, but he was born in Germany. Germans' loss is Turkey's gain, but that's interesting. He came from Schalke. It reminds me a bit of the story of all the great Bayern players in the 60s who apparently were 1860 fans. This is the great story. Whether it's true, I don't know. Apparently the likes of Beckenbauer were all 1860 fans, and they had a match against 1860 that was very violent, and they all switched allegiance to Bayern. Imagine if those guys had been playing for 1860 in the 60s, that the history of German football could have been very different. But we're now back to very much the present, where it's Bayern 1, Dortmund 1. Opening goal from Zidan in the 5th minute, and in the 21st, a bit of a deflection from a Van Bommel shot, but they all count, so it's 1-1. If it stays like this, of course, Leverkusen will open up a 2-point gap. A lot of football still to be played. It's a very determined performance from Dortmund. They're running, chasing every ball, not trying to give any space to Ribéry and Robben, trying to close them down as far away from the goal as possible. Sounds obvious, but it's a tricky thing to do. Schweinsteiger, that's poor ball, Owamayela, and that's another poor ball. Badstuber lost again. It's both sides are finding it hard to really keep possession, but that's because both teams are defending well. Ribéry, Badstuber, who's pretty much locked down that left-back place. Oof, that was a crunching tackle between Barrios and Schweinsteiger. I think they both seem to come out of that with a nasty knock. There we see. Thankfully, both players okay. We were talking about Şahin, who seems to have been around for a long time. He's 21. Well, even Schweinsteiger's only 25 years old, which that's pretty remarkable because he seems to have been around for years. He's, if he goes on like this, he will build up many, many hundreds of appearances for Bayern Munich because he's been a first choice for many years now, as he is in the German side. The ball is aimed towards Ribéry, who suddenly found himself in the middle of the pitch. But that's lost that time by Schweinsteiger. Here's Kuba. He's got quite a bit of space in front of him, but that was good recovery play from Schweinsteiger. I think he was mad at himself for losing the ball, and like a good pro, wins it back straight away. He's the vice-captain of this Bayern side behind Van Bommel. It's a nice touch through. Here is Barrios. Barrios! Good stop Good stop from Butt, and again, where was the defence? It's still not clear. Finally, Badstuber does knock it away.
Yeah, but again, Van Buiten, you see, it doesn't look solid at all on these. Yeah, they got their problems there behind, back in the defence, that's for sure.
Yeah, certainly do that. They're worried when any quick balls come to the feet of the centre-backs. What I'm talking about there, Demichelis, that was, I think, a little bit of panic. He saw Barrios turning, and his fellow Argentine sent crashing to the ground. Nothing too dangerous, but a tackle from behind.
Makes no sense there, you know, 20 metres from the goal, you don't give away a free kick.
And that's a very dangerous.
And this is the other situation, you see, quick feed, tack, and Van Buiten just can't cope.
Van Buiten was completely beaten by the quick feet, but that was a very good stop from Butt, wasn't it? We shouldn't underestimate that. Butt had to be very aware, and it wasn't the first choice goalkeeper. We're talking about all the different tactical formations at Bayern. Well, Butt wasn't even the first choice at the start of the season. Rensing was, and they made that change. Butt now has that first #1 jersey. That shot, the wall does its job, and it's going to come to Barrios, and a last-second tackle from Van Bommel. Again, the Bayern defence was sleeping. They were all looking to clear, or they did that, and then suddenly it was Bender. No way was that offside. And Barrios, this time Barrios didn't quite have the speed, and Van Bommel did well there.
Yeah, but if you compare the situations now, the goal occasions, I mean, Dortmund is far in the lead.
Cleared this time from Gomez, absolutely, and I'm wondering if they're going to regret not making the most of those opportunities. It's not often a team comes to the Allianz Arena and has more opportunities than Bayern. Müller, can Müller get there? But this time Ziegler was aware. Perhaps we were a bit too cruel on Ziegler blaming him for that goal, because it did take a deflection.
I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed with the Bayern, because I thought after the equaliser, you know, which was a little bit lucky, they had made the hardest thing more or less, and then they could normally play their game. But look, we're 2 minutes from half time, and they can't even dominate the game here at home. That's bizarre.
Yeah, I was expecting them to push forward and keep going forward. They seem to just take the foot off the accelerator a little bit after the goal, strangely enough. As Kuba, here's a man who doesn't take his foot off the accelerator. He's one of those guys who runs all day. It seems he runs 90 minutes non-stop. Good player to have on the side. As Hummels, the ex-Bayern man, didn't play too much here, but nevertheless had a career at Bayern. Schweinsteiger gets it back off Gomez. Van Bommel.
Bad pass again.
Experience, a lot of experience in this Bayern side. Have brought the youngsters in, but with those two centre-backs, with Van Bommel, Schweinsteiger, although he's 25, has got a lot of games under his belt. It's a well-balanced side. A lot of players in all positions, just have to get it right, which they have been doing recently. 11 wins in a row, but they've got a real fight on their hands this afternoon. Zidan against Schweinsteiger rather, and this time the Bayern man wins out, and Van Bommel wins the free kick. No injury time at all. It was a really interesting first 20 minutes, and I think both teams were a little bit shocked after so many chances and the goals 1-1. It all started with Dortmund nearly scoring in the 3rd minute. Then this man Zidan with a really intelligent goal, could have speed, got the better of Van Buiten on that particular occasion, and it took just 16 minutes for Bayern to equalise with a deflected long-range shot from Van Bommel.
Now we can have a look on the players here. Arjen Robben, Ribéry is coming on, Gomez, pretty the same players that we had in the first half.
Players. I just think Muller's had such a good season, and then he's put into the centre, and he's been a bit uneasy about where he should play, because with all these positions, you know, it takes time, and there's a kind of automatic response to certain balls and certain passes, and Muller hasn't quite got that yet, and it hasn't quite worked with
yeah,
with
but you know how it is in these big clubs. You have big names coming back from injury. Closer, you see, they push him hard to be better. When Luca Toni was still there, I was told from some source within the club that Luca Toni, when he wouldn't play, when last season when they had the US striker, Donovan, And when Donovan was playing for him or coming on for him, we would go and complain with Uli Hoeneß, how can an American guy play for me? You know, that's like what it is in these clubs. So there's a lot of people involved, a lot of players and quality players. So it's always a lot of struggle to get in the squad. Yeah,
that's right. I know Andreas got very good links to the club, and won't reveal too many secrets, but that's a good bit of interesting discussion from last season when Donovan was there. Obviously Donovan has left and he's now back playing in England, but that's why they call them FC Hollywood, don't they? Because the players are very quick to go to the press and complain to the press as well, which is less usual. In most clubs, players don't like running to the press too much. Bayern Munich, you see that quite a lot. Here is Lucas Barros. I'll ask you in a second, Andreas, just to tell us who's on the substitutes bench to see what kind of changes we might see for both these sides. I don't think Dortmund will be making any changes because things have gone well for them as Subotić just makes a bit of a mistake there and allows Ribéry to close him down. Important early minutes. If Dortmund start the second half as they started the first half, we could be in for a really interesting match. So in terms of bench players, Andreas, what could be Bayern's options?
They're not so many. I mean, for the attack, you get Olić, you get Ivaica Olić, and he can play as a winger.
Yeah.
So, but whom bring you in as a second striker? Then it's not much of an option.
Well, Olić has played in the centre as well. Maybe we'll see Olić come on for Müller.
Olić
to play with Gomez.
I fancy Olić more on the wing, actually. To be honest,
I think he's a better player there, yeah, because he's one of those guys that can run at a fullback, put his head down, and really get past players. But well, he's played up front with Gomez quite a lot, and I'd be a bit. It would be a shame for Müller if he goes off, because he's playing in a position he's not used to, and if he's sacrificed, well, that's a shame. But apart from that, it looks like Klose has obviously not made the cut. He's still got this problem with the stomach bug, and the likes of Tymoshchuk and Altıntop obviously not forwards. So is Subotić with that header. Zidan again, and it's going to be cleared from Badstuber. Well, this is a bit like the start of the first half. Dortmund on the attack. Zidan, was that a foul? Well, I can't believe that. A foul has been given against Ribéry. Kuba said, what? There's nothing in that at all. Kuba and Ribéry have had a few little tussles so far. Judge that for yourself. It looked like he won the ball there, Kuba, to me.
I would agree on that. Good game, Kuba. Again, yes, yeah. Very dynamic on the right wing. No, we're talking about Robben, Ribéry, the wingers, but the best at the moment is this man with number 16, the Polish player from Dortmund.
Yeah, I think he's got a good argument to be the man of the match so far. He's had a very, very good game, hasn't he? And Zidan probably as well for that excellent goal. It's been a real problem for Van Berten and Demichelis. I think he still will be in these last 50 minutes. Bender saw his brother earlier this afternoon for Leverkusen getting through. Sven and Lars, two youngsters.
Both of them have been playing actually for 1816, not far from here,
yes,
from Allianz Arena with the other Munich club.
That's right, they share this stadium. And for fans of Bundesliga 2, don't forget to tune in on Monday, because apart from 5 Bundesliga matches Friday, Saturday and Sunday, we'll have a Bundesliga match every Monday. If 5 matches is not enough for you, I did commentate the last match on Monday in 1860. Munich were very, very poor. They lost to Rot-Weiss Aalen in a pretty empty Allianz Arena, I must say. It certainly wasn't full as it is today. Things are not going at all well for 1860. They are going well for the men in red, although they've got work to do. Robben, that was a lovely little jink of the hips, still Arjen Robben, but he's on his left foot. He needs to cut in, and it's a throw-in finally. That's exactly the kind of move they need to stop. Lahm all the way across to Schweinsteiger. That's nice. They've switched flanks there in the blink of an eye. Ribéry against Aubameyang. So far, Aubameyang's done okay, and well, there's another example. Didn't let him get past him. Oh, but that's how it's lost by Kuba. One back again. That's been the pattern of the match. No one has really kept the ball for very long. It's gone from red to yellow and yellow to red.
Yeah, but I think Dortmund can live with this far better than Bayern. You know, Bayern is a lot of predictable normally at the moment here in this stadium. There's no surprises. No,
it's Ribéry. Ribéry's got a good chance. Gomez is in the middle, as has Robben, and that's it. It's 2-1, and it's the combination of Ribéry and Robben. They had just too much class on that attack down the left-hand flank. Gomez was in the middle. It went all the way across, and that's what they had to look out for. And this man, finally relief for Van Gaal. I think he's going to make a substitute. 2-1 to Bayern.
Yeah, this was really the first really good action for Franck Ribéry in this match. He lost a lot of balls before. Good pass from Müller as well, you have to say. Gomez, and then they have two options: Gomez or Robben. Dortmund defense concentrates obviously on the number 9 player from Bayern, Mario Gomez, and then Robben, close range. That's not his most difficult goal.
No. But it was a nice vision from Ribéry to put it between the legs of the defender. So, well, I think relief more than anything else. It's been a struggle, you know, this afternoon for Bayern Munich. Well, Jurgen Klopp, I don't think he was happy about the foul on Zidan earlier. Now, Jurgen Klopp has to be careful because he's smiling there, but we've seen him this season already get himself into some trouble and be sent off into the stands, that kind of thing. This is where he has to show his managerial talent. He is a great young talent, Jurgen Klopp. This is really where he's going to show what he's made of. 2-1 down, away to the championship favourites. Well, we spoke about Bayern. What do Dortmund have on the bench? Do they have anyone that can change things a little bit?
Hajnal's back, who was injured. Dede is back. If they need, well, now they definitely need more attacking players. Santana is there. Hajnal is a player, and they have a young player, Fabian Götze, who was in the under 17 squad in the Euro last year. Player for the wings, is right wing player. Technically very gifted player, but a small player. So yeah. I doubt he could come on here. I mean, you never know with Jurgen Klopp, but he fancies young players. But still, there should be a lot of pressure here on the shoulders of a young man. This is a time for what is a pretty young side now, ready to show that they can compete at the very top level. Nelson Valdez still injured. I guess that's why he's not there. Oh, he's got his 5th yellow card. He can't play.
Of course, yeah, he's suspended. That's why he's not there.
And they have Damien Le Tallec, the younger brother of the Le Tallec who played with Liverpool.
Yes.
So he's on the bench.
Of Anthony Le Tallec.
Yeah, another young striker here, Damien Le Tallec.
It's been forced on Jurgen Klopp. He doesn't have any money to play with, so he's been forced to bring young players in. That's why Barrios was such an important player, because they did spend money on Barrios. They kind of put all of their eggs into one basket in terms of money. But this is the time for Bayern to prove that they are worthy champions. This will be their 12th consecutive win, would you believe, in all competitions, 9th in the Bundesliga. It's shaping up to be a really good finish between Leverkusen and Bayern Munich, maybe Schalke, between Jupp Heynckes and Van Gaal. What a battle that is between two of the great coaches, you could say, of our era. And also, well, Felix Magath, he's a great coach of our era as well. He's always writing off Schalke's chances, though, isn't he? He's never once said.
Yeah, but that's a strategy. He did it last year. He did the same with Wolfsburg, you know, till five games from the end when they were up front, and then nobody could catch them anymore. That's kind of tactics a little bit. But as you said, yeah, Van Gaal, Champions League winner with the Ajax in '95. Jupp Heynckes, not Jupp Heynckes, obviously.
Van Gaal.
Van Gaal, yeah, who won the Champions League, and Heynckes with Leverkusen, who won it with Real Madrid in '98.
Three very, very experienced coaches. If you add up the number of matches they've coached over the years, it must be definitely over 1,000, probably a couple of thousand. They're all coming towards the end of their career, we could say.
Yeah, you'd suppose so, but then look at Otto Rehhagel, or look at Trapattoni with Ireland. Now,
that's right.
Some people just get these reputations and these experiences, so they still interesting.
Well, certainly Magath, he's just gone from wherever he's gone. Wolfsburg, and now he's brought a lot of success. And
Felix Magath started out to be a big coach with Bayern when he won 2 doubles in a row.
Yeah.
05-06. Before he was more like a fireman. They brought him in, but he never stayed very long with the club. Felix Magath. Now he's got another reputation, obviously.
Şahin, it's high and long. I think it's a bit too high, but he does very well there. Does Hans-Jörg Butt, who made a good save, a very good save in the first half from Barrios. Maybe we'll see that at the end of the match. Look at that, really flighted very high, but dipped back in, and Hummels would absolutely love to score a goal here, wouldn't he? He's already scored 5 this season. If there is one problem with Dortmund, it's they don't really have anyone to help Barrios score. Here's Ribéry. Ribéry against Subotić. Oh, beats him. Lovely touch from but he was a bit too clever for Ribéry. Ribéry was never going to get through Subotić, who is a very big guy.
Yeah, more than 1.90 m.
Yeah, 1.90 m against the more diminutive Ribéry. Actually came to Germany as a youngster, Serbian-born. He had to leave because his visa ran out. Could have played for the USA, went to live in the USA. Very much a player in demand. He's one of those guys who a lot of big European clubs are looking at, Subotić. And Zidan won that header from Demichelis. Had no right to win that. Getting well above the big Argentine.
I mean, given the game, given the match up to this point, you really have to give credit to Dortmund, even if they won their 2 down now, because look at the centre backs, for example, 21 years old.
Yeah,
both of them. I mean, young squad, talented squad, perhaps not the big experience, but 1-2 years. And if they stay together, that's always a big problem. What fits Leverkusen perhaps well this season, because they've been together now for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Most of the players, so this can be the important point in the end. Ribéry.
Yeah, it's a big if, because as you say, we look at that side. What's interesting to me is the young players are like the spine of the side. Hummels, Subotić in defence, Şahin, Bender, Barrios through the middle. They're all young players. It's a big if, though, because it's always the problem with Dortmund. It's a huge club, but they don't have any money. And if they do really well, there's no doubt someone's going to come in and put a lot of money on the table for the likes of Subotić or certainly Şahin. If they can keep them together, I agree with you. I think they could have a very good side in 2 or 3 years. And if they can keep Klopp, of course. Zidan down the left. Zidan against Demichelis. That time the Argentine gets the better of the Egyptian. A very cosmopolitan pitch, as you'd expect that, with Dutchmen, Argentines, Egyptians, different nationalities represented here.
You see Schweinsteiger trying to be the playmaker there. Van Bommel definitely doesn't have the quality.
No, that's not his job yet. He's there as a midfielder enforcer, which everyone needs, of course. Every side needs someone to win the ball in the middle of the pitch, and that's his job. They did, of course, bring in Tymoshchuk, and another interesting element is how long is Tymoshchuk prepared to sit on the bench, because apparently he was made some promises that he would be playing a lot for Bayern. Would it be him or Van Bommel, or both? Certainly not both, because Schweinsteiger is going to be playing in the middle. Tymoshchuk not playing too much at the moment. Nice ball from Subotić, and it didn't quite work there between Barrios and Zidan. Zidan, who's recently linked to a couple of clubs in England and Italy.
Yeah, but it's still amazing that they can make these passes. What's amazing me is that the Bayern, there is a lot of gaps between defense, midfield, attack. As a number 1 team in Germany, they give far too far space to the opponent here.
I think whatever the result, Louis van Gaal is not going to be happy with his performance here, because he was not happy last week when they played pretty well, for my money, at Wolfsburg. He's not going to be happy with this, that's for sure, because it's been an unconvincing display.
And just before hosting Fiorentina in the last 16 in the Champions League, it's also psychological important.
Ball is at the feet of Demichelis. Badstuber. It's another solid game at left back. Certainly hasn't made any mistakes. I say that, and Schweinsteiger has made a mistake, a bad one. Zidan. He's a little bit isolated. Zidan, he's got Barrios behind him. Zidan, no, he can't do everything himself, but he does win a free kick. So that was good work from the Egyptian. And the mistake there was from Schweinsteiger. He knows it, doesn't he?
Yeah, twice. He loses the ball and then he falls down on his knees and he blocks Zidan, and it's clearly a foul here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he needed to foul there because there were 4 Bayern players. Yeah. It's, as you were saying earlier, it's all about when you make those fouls, without sounding too cynical, but that's the kind of place you don't think you needed to make that foul. Sometimes you do need to make a foul.
Yeah, but that's a sign they really start to get nervous when they lose the balls, and they're just not lucid anymore. They just don't think enough.
I think, is it Gross-Kurtz or maybe Subotić is going to have a shot here, the defender. Looks like they're leaving it for the big number 4. Or is Şahin? No, Şahin is there. Şahin, just over. He's got a wonderful left foot on him. He's such a talented player, and he's already scored 3 goals this year. That floated just over. I mean, if Dortmund do push forward and get into the top 3 or 4, Andreas' view, if they had to pick 2 or 3 players that they had to keep, a bit like Wolfsburg, they had to keep Dzeko, who would they really want to keep, you think?
Oh, I think definitely the young players, because you can build up on them and then after a couple of years you can sell them.
Oh, Robben has played it through to Gomez, but this time Ziegler is there. Sorry, carry on.
No, that's my point. Yeah. I mean, you have to build up for the future. You have to build up on the young players, not on the older players, and then try to get some other players coming behind. But definitely Şahin, Barrios, obviously depend on him in attack, and in the back 4, obviously Subotić and Hummels.
And Hummels, those 4, those key men for the future of Borussia Dortmund, who a fine club of great tradition. You may have seen our report on them earlier today. Champions League winners, twice German title winners in recent years, but they had some terrible financial problems. The first German club to go on the stock market, and that unfortunately was a big mistake.
Yeah, and Schalke did as well. Schalke did the same mistake a couple of years later,
didn't work
and
out
they really paid bitterly today.
A lot of Dortmund fans look back on a defeat in the Champions League qualifying. I think it was against Brugge. They lost on penalties, and they were backing on that money. And after that, unfortunately, the finances just really collapsed. It just shows it's a real sign for clubs, for big clubs around Europe, even big clubs with huge support like Dortmund. You can't count on Champions League money coming in all the time. It has to be earned. Here is Gross-Kurtz, big, strong guy down the left-hand side, and he's won a free kick. Has Kevin Gross-Kurtz making only his 9th start of the season, although he's come on 11 times as a sub, so he's actually participated in almost every match. As Rummenigge not happy about that at all.
The Bayern bench, Rummenigge, Höpfner is the financial director, and on the right, the president now, Uli Hoeneß, who was the sports manager before, but he's gone up. He was on the bench. He used to be on the bench last year in the beginning also of the season with Kangal, and then he went up.
Mohamed Zidan, and that's a decent cross. It's over to the far post. It was headed back, and Butt had to do some work there, didn't he? I thought it was going too long for a second, but it was well retrieved at the far post, and no one was picking him up at all there. Very strange defending.
A header from the line. He was standing on the line. I think it was Bender.
Yeah, I think it was Bender. And this is a good period for Dortmund. This is the kind of period that they need to make the most of, because they're not going to be dominating Bayern for the whole match. Şahin again, the man we were talking about. And that's a great corner. Oh, and cleared off the line. That was a last-ditch save on the line there from Bayern. These are worrying times. Dortmund know that it's a good period for them, and they need to make the most of this. It was a really good corner. Came in with such pace and accuracy. This game is not won yet.
Barrios header and Butt just getting the fists up. But it's the 3rd time they save a ball on the line. Twice defenders, now the goalkeeper. I mean, if they go away, if they can come away with a win here, they are really lucky, Bayern.
That was a good header from Barrios. got in front of his defender, and Butt. Well, I think Butt's been their best player so far. He's made 2 or 3 not spectacular saves, but difficult saves. He's had to react very well. It's Mario Gomez. He's got the better of Subotić. Mario Gomez, and it's 3-1. And within a minute, this match has gone on its head completely. Dortmund so close to making it 2-2, but it was just one chance needed for Mario Gomez. Well, that's why they paid all that money for him last summer. And now 3-1, and it should be game over.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? I mean, that's football. That's why it is so fantastic, so passionate. You got Dortmund, who could almost score the equalizer, should score the equalizer, and then on the counter-attack, more or less, ooh, it was perhaps even offside. Gomez, and this is individual skill. You have to give him credit for this. I have to admit, in the beginning, I was not a big fan of his. I thought, well, a little bit awkward, but he scores his goals. 24 last season for Stuttgart. This is goal number 10 in the Bundesliga.
For him, yeah. And that's without playing every game. Far from it. That was about his physical power, wasn't it? It wasn't about the kind of tricky, good footwork. Gomez just using his strength.
Yeah. Best skill when the ball comes deep, and he can move forward. He comes running with the ball, and then he doesn't make a lot of forwards. He puts it into the net quite regularly.
10th goal of the season for Mario Gomez, and an important one because that gives them a 2-goal cushion, and I think they needed that because Dortmund were having a good period. I was just saying that they need to make the most of the good period. Not only did they not do that, they conceded a goal. So nothing going right for the men in yellow. But, you know, whatever happens in this match, Dortmund can take a lot from this match. They've played very well. They've created chances. And most impressively of all, a young side that has not been scared at all. There's not one moment when they've looked panicked or
no, just overawed. Not been rewarded. Basically for the effort.
They've been beaten on that occasion by a good piece of work from Gomez, or one unlucky deflection. But when you're playing against the likes of Ribéry and Robben, that's bound to happen because Bayern have the better players. No disrespect to Dortmund. Barrios, well, that header, he was so unlucky not to score. That could have been so different if he had just directed his header slightly differently. And poor old Jürgen Klopp, I have to feel a bit sorry for him. He's obviously prepared his side very well. Now it's a question of them keeping strong. They don't want to lose 4 or 5 here because talking about their defensive record recently, it's not been good. They conceded 3 against Eintracht Frankfurt, 4 against Stuttgart, 3 against Dortmund, and unfortunately 3 again. If you look over the season, they've only conceded 26. Well, only it's kind of about average for the league. So
yeah, it would be the third defeat in a row though for Dortmund. We're not playing internationally. We're not playing in the cup anymore. So
yeah, they can't concentrate on the league, and they still have a chance of. I think a Europa League spot would be a good season for them. Yeah, if they can finish 5th.
Yeah, definitely. We've explained the situation in Dortmund. Remember in the 90s, they or Bayern were the big teams who would struggle for the championship. Hitzfeld, the coach with Dortmund, and then coach with Bayern. Another parallel. Now Swiss national coach.
Big rivalry between those two, and there is still a rivalry between these two clubs. But as Bayern have stayed at the top level, Dortmund have not, because of those financial management mistakes that we talked about. Now that was Arjen Robben. So Dortmund obviously don't have a game in midweek. Bayern do with that Fiorentina match.
Yeah, Dortmund hosting Hanover 96, so this should be an easier outfit, an easier game than this here.
It should be a good chance for them, Andreas, to keep a clean sheet because Hanover don't score too many goals. That should be the first objective for them.
Yeah, and obviously Bayern a lot more games under their belt with the Champions League. This was a big game, the 4-1 they had in Juve when they had to win. Now Olić will come on. We see him.
And looking ahead, they have some winnable games, don't they, Bayern Munich after that?
Well, there's a Bavarian derby next week when they go to Nuremberg. It's always a tricky one. Always a tricky one. Then they host Hamburg. It's a clear match.
That's a championship
up at the top. And then they go to Cologne. Well, You never know with Cologne. They have had a disappointing season up to now.
Well, the first substitute of the evening, it is Olić coming on. The question is, will he come on for Müller, or will Van Gaal decide to rest Ribéry or Robben? We'll know that in a few seconds.
I go for Ribéry, definitely. We have a look if he's complaining again.
Yeah, as I was going to say that. I'd like to see the look on Ribéry's face if he's taken off, because he's just created a goal. Franck Ribéry, but he's got to be patient. He's coming back from a lot of injuries. He's barely played this year. Bastian Schweinsteiger. Müller plays it straight to Grosskreutz. He's a huge character, isn't he? Big man, Grosskreutz, physically very strong. He gives a little kick to Ribéry, but Ribéry does well. 20 minutes to play. I think the 3 points going to the home side, but as we said, Dortmund can take a lot from this. They've never been second best. It's just the key points, the key moments have not gone their way. This man's had a difficult afternoon, Demichelis.
Yeah, as he had in the cup. I mean, he's clearly coming back from injury. He needs a couple of matches to be 100% fit.
Match against Fiorentina, interesting. Fiorentina won their group, of course, but most people think Bayern the favourites.
I bet them easily last year in the Champions League group.
That's right.
Twice 2 wins against Fiorentina.
I think Bayern certainly think they can win that. Winning the Champions League is maybe a tall order, though one never knows, but they certainly think they can get to the semis this year. And
so we have a look. Yeah, Ribéry is going off.
What, you were right, I was wrong. Yeah, I thought it might be Müller, but let's see how Ribéry reacts to this. Well, the German director is very cleverly not showing Ribéry. Here he is. Well, he's not showing too much emotion. Maybe he's accepted that he can't play 90 minutes of every game. A few whistles around the Allianz arena, because he's a very popular player, isn't he, Franck Ribéry? They do love him around here. So yeah. Ribéry off, and Olić, well, he's a very good player to bring on, and I imagine Olić will just go down the left-hand side. That's post for post.
Oh, and there's even a smile on both faces. So is this for the cameras or is this for true? We never know. But obviously they had a talk after the last game.
Yeah, that's right. I think Rummenigge will be pleased that there's certainly nothing on the pitch to suggest any discontent. Oh, lovely touch from Olić. That's a really beautiful
first touch of the ball.
Yeah. Yesterday we saw a goal of a first touch from Friend and an assist from a first touch from Matt Moore. I've never seen two subs make such an instant impact. It was quite remarkable, that game, and unlucky for Nuremberg. Borussia Mönchengladbach, another wonderful name, of course, from the past German history, but they still think they can have a good future ahead of them, and they won 2-1 last night.
First German club to win the UEFA Cup.
That's right, and Barrios high and wide, so yeah, we've had a win for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Leverkusen have won, and Hamburg, that's an interesting result, and with Van Nistelrooy scoring twice. That's interesting. We've got a couple of substitutes here, Andreas.
Yeah, this is Mario Götze, the young player I talked to you earlier in the show, Mario Götze. He was an under-17 player in the Euro last season. Here we got him.
He's young. He looks very boyish, doesn't he? Yeah, he looks about 17, 18.
Well, he is.
I'm surprised Zidan coming off.
And Hajnal, yeah, who's come back from injury for Zidan.
So Zidan scored that very, very good goal. Hajnal coming on.
Yeah, and
played 7 games so far this season. Götze, this is the 5th time he's come on as a sub. So what kind of player is Götze, Andreas?
Yeah, he's a technically very gifted player, but he's a player for the wings. So he's keeping the ball, he's setting up chances, centres. Actually, a little bit like Hajnal as well, players for the wings. And perhaps they try to have a little bit more pressure, because they saw actually in the first half that they could take their chances when they were coming on the right side, centers in. This is Lothar Matthäus, actually, with his...
It's cold, doesn't he?
Yeah, it is cold. There's a lot of snow, actually, at the moment in Germany. The temperature's about -5 to -10. And Munich, traditionally near to the Alps, near to the mountains, has a lot of snow.
As for your analysis, Andreas Görlitz, who's with us as our match analyst today, will be joining us as well for more matches this season. Thanks for bringing your expert analysis on German football and the young players. It's the first time I've seen Götze. I look forward to seeing him. Tamás Hajnal is the Hungarian international, of course. He's not the tallest, 1.68 m. Very experienced, though. 30-odd caps for his country. Hungarian football having a bit of a renaissance at the moment. Just missed out on the World Cup, of course, after many years of really struggling in any kind of competition. So 15 minutes for Dortmund to rescue something from this game. It's a tall order, but they've shown good desire in this match, let's put it that way. Good competitiveness, as they have all season. They've had some lows, they've had some difficult times, Dortmund, especially that 5-1 defeat against Bayern early in the season, but they've come through it. You know, some people were saying they're going to struggle against relegation. It's certainly nothing like that. Nice work from Badstuber. Badstuber furious at that. Yeah, I think we can say Dortmund one of the pleasant surprises this year, along with Leverkusen. Any other teams that have really surprised you in terms of doing better than you'd expected?
Yeah, Frankfurt definitely. Yeah. Eintracht Frankfurt, a couple of years in the relegation zone, never could make it really. It was also a club, I remember in the 70s there was a UEFA Cup when there were 4 German teams in the semi-finals, and Frankfurt won it in the end. And with this area long gone, and now with the new coach Skibbe, they really play a nice football, nice to watch.
They've done very well, and those days of German success in Europe, perhaps not so much these last few years, but there are 2, remember. Stuttgart are there as well. They're only got to play Barcelona though, so they should be quite easy for them. Bayern Munich, but it's good to see 2 German sides into the last 16 of the Champions League, because it hasn't always been that way. And good days for Frankfurt. In terms of disappointing, I've been very disappointed in Hoffenheim this year, because they're one of those sides that have got such good talent going forward. I've been disappointed in them, and Wolfsburg. I thought they would do better, but that's why Bundesliga is so interesting, because you get these surprises, teams doing really well one year and they just disappear the next, and vice versa. Leverkusen didn't really do too much last year, not European qualifiers, but
they missed out in the end. Leverkusen was the big story. They were really till the 22nd day they were in the top 5. So there's a chance.
But a good stop again from Butt. That's yet another chance, absolutely from nothing. This is what's amazing. These chances, just simple crosses coming in, and it was I'm pretty sure it was Grosskurtz there, and he was all alone.
There's definitely a lot of work still in the Bayern defense to do, because they give away a lot of chances. Far too many chances here.
I think he lacked a bit of composure there, didn't he? He had more space, more time than he thought. You can forgive him, because he's not the kind of player that is often in that situation. Kevin Grosskurtz, he's scored a couple this season.
He's coming from the 2nd division, his first year in the Bundesliga as well.
Yeah. Here he is again. Barrios is looking for it in the middle. Lucas Barrios, still Barrios. Oh, that's a penalty, surely? No. Keeper says no penalty. I thought he got a bit of a pull. Well, Dortmund is showing really good character here. They're not just lying down. They want to come back and at least get 1 goal. Gives their fans something to cheer about. A lot of fans have made the long journey south. They're not going to see their team get anything, I don't think, but they can be proud of their players today. A young team. It's done extremely well. They did take the lead. Didn't last too long. There's that man Hummels again, the man that Bayern Munich very much regret selling.
Yeah, players from Bayern Munich, from the youth system, this is also a bad tradition with Bayern. They tend not to get the credit, you know. Remember in the past, Nährlinger, now the sports director coming back, he went to Dortmund actually. Didi Hamann left Bayern, was really furious. Babbel, when he left Bayern, was really furious. A lot of players who said, well, we are coming out from the youth system, from the youth academy of Bayern,
and don't get a chance.
And we don't get a chance, or we are not highly regarded. Whereas players who come and they buy them for millions of euros or marks before, they have another statue so to speak.
And it's strange because they do put a lot of time and investment into the youth system. They've got a wonderful youth system by the players that they produced.
Yeah.
It seems strange that they do that, but don't always give them the chance. I think we're going to see Hamit Altıntop come on in a few minutes for a rare appearance. He actually started the season as a first-team player, Altıntop. He seemed to be in Louis van Gaal's good books, but since then he hasn't played too much. He's had 5 starts so far.
He had an injury as well.
He did pick up an injury, and again, his position, you wonder how he's going to fit into this side. He maybe would have been happier when there were 3 players in the middle of the park, more defensive players.
Yeah, definitely he might be a number 2 choice now for Van Bommel. But like 20-30 minutes left, you know.
But Tymoshchuk won't be happy at
defense.
That. He thinks he should be playing. There's a chance perhaps for Götze, the youngster. A good education for him to play in front of 69,000 fans here. Robben did well initially, but that time Subotić had it and will just usher it into his keeper's arms.
And you see this team spirit, the spirit of Olić, who's just crossing from left to right. Almost no chance to get this ball, but this is one of these characteristics of Olić, which likes Van Gaal a lot. He likes Olić a lot because he's really working for the team all the time, as is Gomez. And Thomas Müller, Van Gaal, he likes him a lot as well. Yeah, he did that at Hamburg as well. He scored a lot of goals at Hamburg, and what a good signing, free signing at the end of his contract. And for me, I think he's one of the more underrated forwards in Europe. He's a really good player to have in your side, Olić, as the ball just goes in front of Barrios. He's proved that so far. He's scored some important goals this year. And indeed, it is Altıntop and not Tymoshchuk. And he plays on the right wing for Robben, so it's more the defensive option now. Robben going off. He scored his goal.
Scored his goal. Likes to do that. Arjen Robben. That's his 8th goal of the year, which is pretty good. He's only had 8 starts, quite a few substitute appearances. And Altıntop, the number 8.
Yes, another Turkish international.
That's right.
Up against Nuri Şahin now. They will meet each other on the right side of the pitch.
Altıntop, 26 years old. He's been around for a few years, more than 100 games at Schalke. He's another one of those guys who's got a lot of football ahead of him, even though he seems to have been around for many years, and a good player for Bayern to have on the bench. One of those players that's going to have to be happy to be on the bench, because he's not going to be starting many games for FC Bayern unless there's a huge injury crisis. Phillip Lahm will take the throw in. It's a much calmer evening now. I think Dortmund resigned to losing this match. Bayern probably relieved 3-1. It's a bit flattering, that scoreline.
Yeah, but I mean, they know 8 minutes to go in Munich, 2 goals down, that they won't make it. Well, remember last season, even I remember Bielefeld scoring 2 goals in the last 8 minutes here, making it 3-3.
Yep.
But well, I doubt it. I doubt it. Actually, it will happen here again.
Yeah, Bielefeld a couple of goals that wasn't enough to save their skin there. We were relegated. Here's that man, Olić. Oh, good work.
On the first touch, he could have given it to Gomez. Gomez was on his own.
Gomez was in the middle, and those 2 players have played together quite a bit this season, but that was really good work from Mats Hummels. Will he make the trip to South Africa? Some people are saying he deserves a spot at centre-backs.
Problem is there's not a lot of games to test left. So and Jogi Löw, the national coach, said before, we are more or less concentrating on the 30 players we invited lately to our fitness test. So I doubt it. It's a little bit early perhaps for him.
There's a chance. Mario Gomez is through. It's going to be 4-1. Oh no, it isn't, because of a great tackle from Subotić. But why on earth did he make that pass? I was certain that he was just going to slot the ball in. He can have a little smile.
Yeah, but this is typical of Gomez as well. He's playing for the team a lot, and sometimes too much, like here. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge making a face there, you know, a striker, prolific striker for Bayern in the past.
I was going to say, I think if he'd have had that chance in his career, he wouldn't have been passing it backwards. Barrios comes off for Le Tallec, the Frenchman. Well, I'm all for being unselfish, but that was taking it too far. The header goes off the bar from Bastian Schweinsteiger. Now the chances are coming in for Bayern. The header at the near post, he should have been picked up by Şahin, and it bounced off the bar. Now the chances are racking up. Schweinsteiger off the bar with that header.
A chance on the other side of the pitch. Not a bad shot.
Grosskreutz again. We're seeing a lot of chances suddenly.
Switched the side, now on the right side.
Yeah, he's had some success since changing side, hasn't he? (3-1), 5 minutes to play. It's going to be 3 points. And the good news is that Bayern have made a goal up on Leverkusen, even though they're still level on points. The difference is virtually nothing now, isn't it? It's just one goal. So nothing between Leverkusen and Bayern. So Muller, I think he seems happier down one flank, left or right. A bit of panic there. What was Butt doing? Well, we know he can play football quite well as well.
We've been talking about this in the first half. You told me, well, a goalkeeper taking penalties, and I told you he was a good football player.
Yeah, he's a good footballer. Yeah, nothing against Hans-Jörg Butt. He's a very, very good goalkeeper, good footballer. And he's been a very, very good servant to German football over the years. Some people were writing him off, weren't they, at the beginning of the season? But Oli Kahn saying now it's time for Rensing to get his chance, and but he's finished.
Yeah, but he didn't take it. I mean, Rensing had his chance under Klinsmann. Klinsmann wasn't convinced, I think, in the first place, but he had to make him play because the management, Uli Hoeneß, had outspoken publicly this was the new #1 German goalkeeper, a successor basically to Oli Kahn in the national squad. So everybody was thinking about Rensing as the upcoming #1, and well, he didn't really convince a lot of people when he was playing. So they rely on a very experienced older goalkeeper now, like Butt. But he's not a solution for the upcoming 2 or 3 years. I mean, definitely they must have a look on the transfer market.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's a very rare time, isn't it, Andreas, that none of the top German goalkeepers, I'm talking about the ones in the squad, are from Bayern. There's not going to be any.
It's a funny story because when it came to under 21 team, there was always the ranking. Well, I might go here with this chance. Yeah. No, always the ranking. Rensing, Neuer, Adler. So these 3 goalkeepers, and now Adler and Neuer have developed a lot quicker than Rensing did in the end. Yeah.
And Neuer's still younger. Neuer's still, just 21, 22. He's a very young keeper, so he's got a lot of time to progress. Rensing, I'm sure he's still got a good career ahead of him, but he hasn't quite advanced. Butt is one of those guys, he doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. You know, he's a solid pair of hands. When I've seen him this year, he's done well. And today, you know, he's made 2 or 3 very, very good saves. So you can't fault...
And Van Gaal checked them out in the beginning of the season, and Butt is definitely #1 now. I mean, there's no discussion about that. Unless he gets injured, Rensing won't play. A lot of people said this was clear in the beginning of the season, and Rensing should have looked out for another club. He should have left the club to make a living on his own, because he's always linked to Bayern, protected by Bayern, in the shadow of Oli Kahn, having trained with Oli Kahn for 4 or 5 years before he quit. And when he came in as a #2 keeper, he did a good job, but he didn't convince as a #1 keeper. So he should have perhaps gone away and had made a reputation in another club in the Bundesliga. Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting and an important decision for Bayern very soon. They can't wait too much longer for that. As long cross comes in, that was Hajnal. I remember Rensing, he had a good pre-season tournament, I think, against Manchester United in one of these pre-season tournaments. He saved a couple of goals, saved a couple of penalties, but there's a big difference, isn't there, between a pre-season penalty shootout and at the top level?
Yeah, it was a funny situation because Butt had made one mistake just before. Then Rensing had this penalty session, but then Butt came in and saved them in a game right afterwards. So it's difficult. I mean, goalkeeper situation is that, I think that's for sure. It's not far from being ideal with Bayern Munich at the moment.
No, because every team wants the same goalkeeper. They don't even want a discussion about it, do they? The best teams, they always have a guy who's a number one and a guy who's a number two, and there's not too much discussion about it. And there clearly is a discussion at Bayern, because we've been talking about it for the last few minutes as Van Bommel goes crashing to the ground. It's going to be 3 points for Bayern Munich as perhaps they launch one final attack with Altıntop, Badstuber, just a couple of minutes left. Van Bommel left.
Well, it could be a successful year for Bayern again. They are in for the title race. They are in the semi-final of the Cup. They are going to Schalke to see Felix Magath again, their former coach, who was very pleased with the draw. Nadine Angerer, the coach, the goalkeeper of the German female squad, took the draw.
Oh, right,
and Felix Magath was present, and he was really pleased and said, really, thank you for that. I want to see them again.
Well, so attacking on 3 fronts, Bayern Munich. And they've certainly got the squad to do it. They have a lot of players, especially in the forward positions. There's nothing lacking there. Perhaps in defence they might worry about that.
I think it takes another couple of years till they can really compete in Europe. I don't see them winning a Champions League, to be honest. It's too many problems still. Look at the defence.
Götze, and that was again a good stop from that man. From Butt, we were talking about another chance. They're creating a lot of chances, even at this very, very late stage. Le Tallec. Butt needed to be aware. It's all over. So your final thought, who would you say was your man of the match this afternoon from either side, Andreas? Who's impressed you?
For a long period of time, Jakub Błaszczykowski, the Polish player for Dortmund. And Bayern, well, Robben having a good match for me, and Butt, obviously, the goalkeeper, saved them on several occasions. Yeah, was solid. I think a solid display, but not really convincing in the end of Bayern Munich. They can play better football. They were lacking pace a little bit, What Jürgen Klinsmann wanted to start, what Van Gaal also wants, playing the ball quickly down the field, not playing wide, but playing up front. And I think they have to work on this. Still
I've seen them play better in recent weeks, especially at Werder Bremen and at Wolfsburg. That's it. It's over. It's 3-1. It's 3 more points for Bayern. And the title race is still very much tight and alive between Bayern and Leverkusen. They've both won today. You've seen both of those matches on Eurosport 2 as the 2 Turkish players have a little chat there. I'm sure Altıntop has a word of consolation for Şahin. We're going to see a lot more of Şahin over the years. Great talent. A big smile on the face of captain Mark van Bommel. He knows it was a tough task. And Hummels, he's come back to his old ground. Losing this time, I'm sure he's going to come back again with more success. It's another win for Bayern. They have such a good record against Dortmund over the years. They haven't lost since 1992 season. It's going to be yet another year before they do lose, because it's finished 3-1 to Bayern Munich.
And imagine if Dortmund had scored on one of these occasions where some foot just prevents the ball from going over the line in the first half. It could have been 2-1 at half-time for Dortmund, and then we would have seen definitely a different match.
And even before that goal, before the third goal, Barrios' header kicked off the line. I think this man, Jurgen Klopp, he's going to be telling his players, well done, they've had a good game. Young players, it's not a time to be criticising them. And a little chat there between Zidan and Olić. They know each other pretty well as well. We're going to try and get a couple of interviews with some of the key players, so stay with us with all the reaction from